Hello, teachers and staff. My name is Ms. Pagan, and I'm a remote teacher. I'm also a virtual content specialist, and I'd like to share with you today some tools that you may use in your classroom, whether you are remote or in person, to promote collaboration and also to direct attention to critical features of this lesson, using both PowerPoint slides that are translated in Spanish and Google Jamboards that are formatted for group work. So teachers, in this lesson on Unit 5, Day 34, with the title Comparing Fractions with the Same Numerator Pictorially, and the focus question, how can we compare fractions with the same numerator? In the guidelines, you will notice that the guidance for this resource is to use with students by assigning collaboration partners or to create a platform for collaboration. For this reason, I'm providing some tools that can be used to promote group work, whether remotely or in person. Also, when you locate slide number 9, which are some suggestions for engaging multilingual learners, you will notice that these suggestions in section 3 are to increase access to grade level mathematics. This can be done by providing written and translated instructions with criteria for success that is visible to students at all times. Also, access can be given to students by directing their attention to critical features of a task. I will be showing you how you can use the laser tool in a Google Jamboard during live instruction to direct attention, especially to multilingual learners and English language learners. So teachers, let's begin with the first tool for support. The first tool that I'm providing to you is the translated PowerPoint slides. You'll notice the support tool from the opening to the introduction, which also has some additional images or visuals in real life, to the question in Spanish, and the directions are also written in Spanish. There is an explore slide, and in this explore slide, there are also tools that students can use to explore to show their thinking. Each square or fraction bar can be used to represent the water bottles for both Leslie and Kelly. Each number card can be utilized to represent the amount of water that both Leslie and Kelly drank. You will notice that there are 1/5 number cards and there are 1/4 number cards that can be dragged into the representation or the model. This section can also be used for students to draw using the draw tools or to also write some comments or ideas to show their thinking. Finally, teachers, in the summarize section, students may write their ideas or their thinking utilizing the Spanish translated directions. And in the summary section that can be done as a class or independently, both the focus question and the directions are in Spanish. This is one support tool that I have provided for you. A second support tool is a Google Jamboard. If you've used the Google Jamboard before, you're aware of the tools that are on the left-hand side. You'll see that there is a pen tool. A new window will open up to represent a pen, a marker, a highlighter, which can be used to point attention to some critical features of the task, and a paint tool. There's an eraser, a select tool, a sticky note. This is one of my favorites that I use just to provide feedback for students to use to write their own thinking, to create collaborative groups, partnerships, and also for accountable talk. My students write, I agree with you because, or I disagree with you, or I would like to just show my thinking. I have a new idea. Finally, teachers, feel free to use the shape tools for area models, fraction bars, the text boxes, and my final tool, which is my favorite, is the laser, especially when I am in a live lesson with English language learners. I love to direct their attention to critical features of either language, vocabulary, or critical features of the task using the laser and constant repetition. Teachers, I welcome you to go through this second slide. In the second slide, and also in a final summary slide, you'll notice that there are multiple sticky notes, each one with a number and a color. In my live instruction, my students are placed by group, and each group member is one color. And they maintain that color or that sticky note throughout their entire lesson. Each time that they're writing down their thinking, they'll click on their specific color. They'll use the select tool, open up their sticky note, and write their information. Each student will maintain that color throughout the entire Google Jamboard. And students are able to now work in groups because of this. Also, students can peek on another student's sticky note and see their thinking. They can either write on their sticky note with accountable talk stems or starters, or for struggling students or new or emergent students, they can write A for agree, or D for disagree, or S meaning I'm not sure, sideways thinking. Finally, teachers, if you're using this in Google Classroom, it's really important that when you assign the task, that you assign a color or a name for each group, and that students are aware of each group that they pertain to or belong to. In my live instruction, I use several Google Jamboards for each group. My fourth grade class has red, yellow, blue, and green, and they click on their Google Jamboard and they work. And each one also knows what is their specific color in their group for their actual sticky note. My suggestion or recommendation is when placing the Google Jamboards into a Google Classroom task, you are going to place each one with the group name and then place edit. So students, when they open up the Google Jamboard, they all have edit access and can work live on the Google Jamboards. Finally, teachers, I provided both Google Jamboards. You'll see in a slide, and you'll see that there's a Spanish or an English Google Jamboard. This is also written and translated features for your students. There's also, when you place on this link, it automatically creates a copy. So once you click on the link and you open up the new copy, you can then not have to worry about students using each other's copies. And you can name each copy according to the group name and place into your Google Classroom. So once I've opened up this new copy, I'll decide, since I have my red, I have my yellow, I'll go on to green. I'll place a new name, same actual partner or group Jamboard. This is the third group that I'll be utilizing. I'll place it into my Google Jamboard, into my Google Classroom task, and I'm going to use one for each group. So here I have my green. This is my third group. I'll click insert and I'll make sure that I have edit features. If students are working on their own, feel free to make a copy for each student, whether you're having the English or the Spanish Google Jamboards. Again, teachers, I provided these tools for support for your English language learners and your multilingual learners. You will have for this lesson Spanish or translated features in the PowerPoint slides. You will have a Google Jamboard to facilitate group work or partner work. And you'll have Google Jamboards both in Spanish and in English to support your English language learners. Again, this is Ms. Pagan. I'm a grade 4 remote teacher and also a virtual content specialist. Feel free to write any comments or thoughts in the YouTube comments so that we can best support you as you're providing instruction for our students.